Order 66 is often regarded as one of the darkest moments in the history of the Jedi Order, with the nigh extinction of the Jedi Knights taking place over the course of mere minutes all across the galaxy. While Order 66 often gains the most notoriety of the clone orders, there were several other directives programmed into the clone soldiers during the time of the Clone Wars era, and one in particular would have allowed for the clones' own orders to be turned towards their creator, Palpatine himself, spelling his imminent end, an order that Mace Windu could have enacted. But why didn't he? Let's answer that question in today's video. So stick with us, weary acolytes of the galaxy, and let's discuss Order 65, the ramifications of what it entailed, and most importantly, why Mace Windu didn't choose to enact the order when arresting Chancellor Palpatine. Order 65 was the Chancellor's equivalent to Order 66, and it was designed as a contingency order and planned to nullify the Chancellor's emergency powers, should the Chancellor become too powerful. While Order 66 was designed to prevent the Jedi from gaining too much power from the conflict, Order 65 did the very same thing but for the Chancellor, in this case Palpatine. Though Palpatine promised to surrender power back to the Senate, the Clone Order 65 allowed the Jedi Order to strip the Chancellor of his powers and have him arrested by the Grand Army of the Republic, returning the power of the Chancellor back to the Senate by force. So with this order in place and primed for use under just an occasion as this, why would Mace Windu elect the three Jedi Masters to attempt to arrest Palpatine on his own, and not choose to ultimately enact Order 65 against Palpatine? After all, this coup is what directly allowed Palpatine to issue Order 66 and frame the Jedi Order for the fall of the Republic, ultimately manipulating Windu into playing directly into Palpatine's master plan, and using this ploy to erect his new imperial regime that would reign over the galaxy for the greater part of the next 2 decades. The answer to this question is actually quite simple, and it's because he didn't have the legal authority to act on Order 65 or issue the command to the Clone Armada. Windu simply was incapable of enacting this order on his own, whereas in attempting to arrest Palpatine on his own, he gave the soon-to-be Emperor the very same legal justification that he himself ultimately lacked. Palpatine swore to relinquish power once the crisis was abated and once the stability and security of the Republic could be ensured yet again. But by this point in time, he had no obligation to abide by this decree. When they staged their arrest of the Chancellor, the Clone Wars may have been in its waning days, but they were not quite over. With General Grievous and Count Dooku having just been killed, the war was coming to a swift end. The Separatist leaders were on the run and the battle droids were being slain by the dozen, but the war was not yet over. This means that not only did Palpatine have no obligation to surrender his power as of yet, more importantly, he hadn't done anything illegal. Despite the image that the Sith had garnered over centuries of conflict, it was not technically illegal for a Sith Lord to hold the title of Chancellor or any seat of government for that matter, and therefore Palpatine had broken no official laws. The Sith had not been heard of for over 1,000 years before Darth Maul eventually emerged during the events of the Phantom Menace, but one lone Sith assassin most likely did not warrant rewriting entire laws, nor did the Jedi or the Republic have the foresight to see the coming conflict with the Sith, especially given that the Jedi and the Senate alike believed that they knew about the Sith Order and that they believed that they were entirely gone, or at least that there were only 1 or 2 of them that posed little to no threat to an entire order of Jedi Knights. A huge mistake was the Jedi underestimating the Sith and underestimating Palpatine and his power and pull. In short, being a Sith was not ground for Palpatine's removal of office, and with the full plan finally coming to light, Windu not only decided to attack, but to do so outside of his jurisdiction, and fueled by his own worst enemy, his hubris and love for the Order. One of Mace Windu's defining character flaws is the arrogance that he carries pertaining to the Jedi Order as well as the Republic itself. The Jedi Order as a whole had fallen into a dogmatic dichotomy of good or evil, light or dark, with no room for flexibility or justification, and Mace Windu was a perfect embodiment of these flawed philosophies. He and the Jedi believed themselves to be the righteous holy saviors of the galaxy against an enemy of pure evil, and this pride led him into conflict with the first Sith Lord to be seen in centuries. While Darth Maul and Count Dooku both held the title of Sith Assassin and Sith Lord respectively, Palpatine was in a league of his own as the true Sith Master. Mace Windu had the chance to defeat the head of this new Sith regime, being the Jedi to conquer the Sith once and for all, bringing thousands of years of conflicts to its final close, and this hubris was likely a driving factor in his decision to take matters into his own hands. without waiting for any semblance of diplomacy or bureaucracy. In essence, this conflict became larger than the Clone Wars itself, as this moment was not only the culmination of the Republic and the Separatist struggles, but it was the crescendo of thousands of years of conflict between the agents of the Force itself, the light and the dark, and this is where Mace Windu's head was at. The forces of the light and the agents of the dark finally came to a head, with one threatening to topple the other, and with the fate of the Republic, the Force, and the Jedi Order at stake. Order 65 simply wasn't enough, as there were no legal grounds for Windu to give the command, and the clones and the Senate ultimately would not have obeyed the order if given by Windu, or any Jedi for that matter, as no laws were technically broken. If Mace Windu had attempted to enact Order 65, he would have been met with dire backlash from both the Senate as well as the entire Republic. And since the war wasn't entirely over as of yet, it's possible that he may have even prolonged the conflict even longer, even though most of the Separatist leaders were dead and buried by this moment in time. The Jedi Order would have been attacked both legally as well as in the court of public opinion, destroying their image and possibly their organization as a whole, if everything were to go in the worst way possible. While the public perception of the Sith was that they were the antithesis of everything the Jedi Order stood for, the fact still remained that there was no law preventing them from holding positions of power in the Senate or in government at all for that matter, and there was nothing to prevent them from holding the seat of the Supreme Chancellor, which Palpatine ultimately held. Palpatine needed to wait for Mace Windu to make the move before he enacted Order 66, as the Senate ultimately would have turned on him if Mace Windu and the other Jedi Council members did not attack him that day, and Palpatine himself would have not had grounds to initiate Order 66, just as Windu did not have grounds to initiate Order 65. But anyway, friends, what do you think of this explanation? Do you think that this is a sound explanation as to why Mace Windu didn't enact Order 65? And if he had, what do you think the ramifications would have been on such a drastic act? As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching and continuing to support the channel. It means the world to me. May the Force be with you, and I will hopefully see you in the next video.